Hey everybody, Michael Berge with Digiday, back at the Digiday studios here at Possible. And I'm very happy to have with me Sean Cocoran, who's the president of Mission One Media, the new media arm of BarkleyOKRP.
You got all that right?
I did get it right. I'll tell you, I'm on a streak today.
Yeah, well done.
I've been getting all these titles right. Good to have you, Sean. How's it going?
Good. Good to be in Miami.
Yeah, it's good to be in Miami. It's a lot of stuff going on here, that's for sure. A lot of conversations. So I'm going to just throw us right into the deep end. Economic uncertainty, some turmoil with tariffs and questions about supply chain and how that affects those who want to market to consumers.
Yeah.
What are your constituents? What are your clients saying? Is this pause? Is it pull back? Is it lean forward? What are you hearing?
Definitely not lean forward. I haven't heard that too much.
I've heard a few.
Oh, you have heard a few.
But
Good to hear.
for the most part, no.
I think if you asked me a week ago, I would have said pause almost on everybody.
Yep.
Within the last week, we had a couple clients start to go, you know what? This is too much uncertainty. We're going to have to pull back. We have a few retail clients, I would say, like in that sector where they're like, you know what? We're going to need to slow this down.
Yep.
And start to rethink what we're doing the second half of the year. So we just started to see a little of that.
Okay. What is your guidance to them? Like, do you kind of agree with their position, or do you remind them that, like, if you pull back, your competitor may think about heavying up?
Some of it's out of our control, but, you know, and obviously, but I think, you know, when we talk about that, it's like there's two factors, right? One is protective, like we have to play defense. Here's the minimum we have to do in terms of protecting your business and making sure you're still going to be able to drive, you know, the right amount of return on ad spend or even just business growth in general. The other side's opportunistic. It's like, hey, there actually might be some opportunities in the marketplace if people pull back. You know, there might be some stuff all throughout the ecosystem that you might be able to take advantage of. So why don't we continue to keep an eye on that, with those opportunities and see what we can bring to the table, be innovative, be smart. You know, we have to have that kind of a mindset as an agency partner.
Yeah, I mean, and probably lots of opportunity to look for efficiencies so that a diminished budget can still kind of stretch far enough and keep them in the game. Okay, switching topics a little bit, does Google's like silly about face with, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say silly, their about face with cookie deprecation, does that affect you guys at all? I mean, most of your clients have probably moved on from cookies, or is that still a process?
I mean, they still exist, but I think there's been a lot of like alternatives at this point in the way we measure, the way we look at the world, the way we model things, that it's not as big of a deal as if it happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like 3 years ago, like that was obviously an enormous conversation then.
Yeah.
Still impactful, but because we've kind of moved beyond it in some ways, it's just not as big of a conversation these days as it would have been.
Another hot topic here at Possible is, you know, generative AI and its impact on the marketing world, the agency world, the data world. You guys are obviously probably more than just dabbling in AI.
Sure.
How is generative AI being applied in what you're doing, especially at Mission One?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you're working with a media platform partner, with some kind of DSP, big tech, whatever partner you're working with, they're going to have some level of generative AI involved now, right?
Yeah.
Machine learning's been there for a decade.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at, okay, here's all the Gen AI, here's all the AI opportunities. I think where it's interesting more and more, and I think every company is looking at this, is like in your workforce, how do we leverage those tools to help us do better work on top of all of that too? Yep. So now you're looking at AI to work with AI, and it just becomes AI everywhere. And I think that's been the thing, is like keep your eye on the ball in terms of the work you're doing, but also be exploring and looking at all the ways you can do work in just different ways.
Yeah.
You know, I think it makes it, you know, another layer of complexity on top of the layers of complexity that we've already been dealing with. You know, it's like, well, that's sure, why not? Why not another one? Throw another one in there. Throw another one.
You know, complexity, we love it.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, that's a pretty level-headed way of looking at it. I mean, you make it sound less like shiny new object and more like I just got a really good vacuum cleaner that's going to clean my house much better than the old.
The Roomba now, though, like, you know, imagine that works really well, and it's like, well, I got this now, so I don't need that person to push it, you know, like I think there's, you know, look, on the agency side, I can tell you, like, there's an excitement, I think, around the fact that we spent, especially in the media world, last 15 years or whatever, it's been 20 years of button pushers.
Yep.
Welcome, and button pushers making more money because they're good at button pushing, and it's like, well, how about someone that can sit with the client, hold their hand and say, you know what, we're going to help you navigate all this stuff. And I think bringing people through the system up and out of school, wherever they're, whatever, you know, background they come from, and training them on actually helping a client do work is different from, could you go into the console for the next 2 years and we'll call you when you need to talk to a client. By then you've never learned anyway. So it's just like a, a different model. I think from our side of the world though, we're really connected to creative. And I know that everyone's talked about, bringing media creative together, but we really are excited about the opportunity there. We're playing around with AI in different ways there, like evaluating creative libraries and seeing how maybe we can get more out of the different elements of creative that a client might have, and saying this is what works and doesn't work. And it's different from dynamic creative optimization, which is fine.
Right.
But that's really taking the ad and saying, here's the least worst version of this ad. And we've tried, we've had machine learning do like 1 million versions of it. And and that's what it does versus saying, let's pull this, advertising apart. Let's pull this creative apart and see what's working and not working. And then go use AI in the back end with, like, we have a big Adobe partnership with Gen AI with our creative team to then make some faster creative to then put back in the marketplace and see which elements of creative drive the best return on ad spend. To me, that's exciting because it's the one big lever we haven't been able to pull. In media, we're pulling every lever, that's pulling levers, this is twitching up. But like, we've been doing that forever.
Yeah.
And we're trying to squeeze so much juice from that stone or blood from that stone or whatever that saying is. And now we're like, oh wow, we can actually pull the big one.
Right.
And I think that's exciting.
And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you can do the best media placements with the greatest efficiency ever.
Right.
If the creative is a piece of crap, no, it's not going to have any impact, and probably no one's going to watch it.
And there's been enough research in the industry for years that said the creative is I'm a media guy. But I can tell you, creative's the most important thing. The message is the most important element.
Yep.
And we haven't really been pulling that lever to the best of our ability because of the way the system's been set up. And now we have this opportunity. I think that's exciting.
And so that's what you're doing at Mission One as kind of a new extension.
Right.
And I don't know if it's right to say new extension
That's okay.
of
New brands,
BarkleyOKRP. Obviously, even though you're standalone next to it, you guys are totally like working with each other, right?
We purposely did not separate the P&Ls.
Yeah.
I've been through that in my history, and, it was good and bad, frankly. And, I think for us, having one P&L and one team working together across the board, everybody understanding that, when you have creative people that understand the media is important, that changes the game. We're all at the table. We're saying, this is the best way to do this. We can get innovative, we get nerdy, whatever it may be.
Yep.
I know everyone's talked about that in the past, to bring those together. I think now is a great time for it. It's just with AI and everything else and technology, it's like, hey, this is a great time to try and bring these together and do it.
Yeah.
Try it again. We're out of the mass media world officially. Let's try the new system again.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, 40 years ago, people talked about like, video telephones.
Yeah.
But it didn't work then. But then when you have the right technology, when you have smartphones,
That's exactly right.
boom, there it is.
Maybe now is the moment where like we can start to bring these together and yes, be creative and be innovative, but you have to do it on top of the world that you live in.
Yeah.
And do it within the, I think media stands in some ways on the walls or at the gates, of data.
Yeah.
And they don't allow creative in much. And I'm like, well, that's what I want to bring the creatives to the table and say,
Open the gates.
let's see what we can do here. And if we, bring it now, they're not always great with the data, and that's fine. But if we can make it easier for them and more fun and exciting, it's better for everybody. And then we're back to doing advertising again, maybe,
Hey, what a concept.
All right, we're not talking about plumbing. This is all plumbing. What I mean? It's just advanced plumbing.
Fair enough.
It's fun, it's exciting, and it's smart, but it's advanced plumbing.
Yeah, but it's advanced
This will
plumbing.
be the plumbing era.
Oh, good. Well, I kind of look forward to covering it, and I'm sure you look forward to like being a part of it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, let's leave it at that. Sean, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Sean Cocoran with Mission One Media.